So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the final conference of the 2022 INSEAD Health Week. Thank you very much for your continued support. I see some faces here that have come to several events, so thank you very much for that. So today's talk is How Nature Can Help Us Regenerate by Fabrice Leclerc. But before we begin, we have several people on Zoom, so let me explain the webinar etiquette. So the audience is muted with video off. The chat box is disabled, but if you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab to suggest questions for the speakers. The webinar is also being recorded, and so if you have any technical issues, here's the email where you can contact. So Fabrice Leclerc, well, today is Physical and Mental Regeneration Day, the final day of the 2022 INSEAD Health Week, as you know. And I wanted to introduce to you Fabrice Leclerc. His story is truly inspiring to us all. Do you want to know how he started? He started out scooping ice cream, and he then became the CEO of the same company for which he was scooping ice cream, Haagen Dazs, in Italy. He then founded and managed the Business Innovation Lab for L'Oréal, and he now advises international companies and business leaders worldwide on how to raise their business performance while still doing good for their community. His collaborations with the boards of Nespresso, Google, United Nations, Sky, L'Oréal, and even Apple and Steve Jobs himself are internationally acclaimed. He is a startup angel, and he at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, and he's at the advisory board of several startups in the Silicon Valley. Apart from his fantastic and truly inspiring professional background, he is the founder of the first natural intelligence sanctuary, la Vallée Éternelle. He will tell us more about la Vallée Turnell later, but for now, I can just tell you that la Vallée Turnell has been awarded the Patagonia Award for one of the best projects on the research on natural health and longevity. This was awarded by Yvon Chouinard, the CEO of Patagonia himself. But most of all, Fabrice is an INSEAD alumnus, and that is the main reason why he has decided to join us today for this talk. Fabrice has not been able to join us in person. He is joining us from Switzerland, but we have designed an interactive session for you all. So please write down or think of any questions you may have for later on. Before I give the floor to Fabrice, let me explain how today's one-hour session will be structured. So first, Fabrice will talk about natural intelligence and how nature can help us regenerate. Then I will ask Fabrice a few questions to dig deeper into this topic. And finally, we will leave the floor open to any questions you may have. So those on Zoom, please use the Q&A chat for any questions. So please join me in giving a warm round of applause to our speaker for today, Fabrice Leclerc.
Thank you very much, Nacho. Thank you very much, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So good afternoon. A big round of applause first for the organizers of this Health Week. You did a tremendous job. So wonderful, amazing. Thank you very much. So we are going to talk about intelligence, natural intelligence. The first thing we have to know is that we are born in nature and from nature. So we function exactly the same way. In a way, we are a bit like the fabric of its existence. And that's why we have exactly the same natural intelligence, the same way of reacting, the same way of regenerating ourselves, of healing. And this natural intelligence is innate, not only for humans, but for the 20 million living species on the biosphere. We all have it. This is how we regenerate ourselves and we heal ourselves every seconds. This natural intelligence is like billions of years of experience that are being transferred to us. And this is indeed how life really works. So this helps us to create ourselves every day and to reinvent ourselves every day. So I think that we just have now to reconnect with it, to understand what it is, just to reinvent our civilization so we can live happy, if possible beyond 100 years, and healthy on a healthy planet. Life has managed on Earth to regenerate itself after 7 massive extinctions. This second to last extinction was due to a comet, maybe, that hit the planet 70 million years ago, and that made the dinosaurs to be extinct. The last one, as you know, is happening right now, every day, and it feels like really like we've created a comet that we throw on our heads. We are the author of this extinction. Just because for a while, we thought that we were more intelligent than nature. We called ourselves sapiens, like the species who knows, when in fact, we know that we don't know a lot. So it's a big lesson of humility. And the first rule in innovation is humility, because humility allows us to be open-minded and to open our mind. We always say that our spirit or mind is like a parachute, it works better if it stays open. So we are in this together now, but life, and thanks to its natural intelligence, has always regenerated itself. And I guess that we are now in life, we are in a difficult situation just to help us to grow, to understand ourselves maybe in a deeper way, and to find the strength to build us into stronger, more confident, more intelligent and powerful beings. So in fact, our job is to find the positive, even in the most difficult situation. It's a very innovative, minded approach. It's not about what's wrong, but what can be improved, and trying to create a story or a world that everybody would want to follow because it's better than the previous one. So I think we are in that stage now in our civilization where we really have to reinvent something much more interesting, much more positive, much more healthy than what we had before. So that's really for an innovator, that's the dream mission. That's the holy grail of innovation, is when we have to reinvent our own civilization. And so that's the moment we are sharing. So for me, it's not it's really like a renaissance. We are in the midst of a renaissance. In few years, everything is possible again. So it's a very, very unique moment that we are living in our in the story of humanity, because it's very rare that we have that window of time where we can really reinvent the things according to our values and what we want. We say we have 7 years, but maybe a little bit more, I don't know. But we have a short time, so that puts us a lot of pressure, but that's also where the big opportunity comes from. So how do we go about it? What do we do? Yeah, so this happens to us many times in our private life and professional life. For example, when we lose somebody we love, our partner quits us or something, and maybe we lose our job. That happened also in the film The Hangover. So you have a big party with your friends, and then you wake up in the morning, you just forgot what happened, but you're in a mess. And this is a bit what I don't know if you will agree, but that's what we feel today. It's like we are waking up and wow, what have we done? It's really a mess. And so this pandemic is really a mess. And but the pandemic is just symptomatic of just a symptom of what we have to face now, and the positivity we have to inject in everything we do to regenerate our society. The first thing we do when we go through these events in our life, when our partner quits us, or we lose our job, or or we have a hangover night, it really reconnects us to how we can regenerate and how we can regenerate the civilization. So when we kick off, it's important to start with very simple things, and to observe how we really function. To go back to earth and to be very pragmatic. When these things happen, usually we go back home. I mean, maybe you experience that and you go back to your parents, you go to a place you trust, you go back to a place of love, because you have to refill yourself with love to get prepared for the next adventure. And the place which defines our home, it's really the earth, it's the planet, it's nature. So that's why a lot of us are now coming back to nature in a very different forms, being on how our lifestyle, being architecture, education, growing food, gardening, whatever. But it's really about the first step of regeneration is to go back home and just to rest, and just to sleep and take our time. This is a very crucial part of the regeneration process. It's just to let go, just to rest. When you rest at night, when you sleep, it's when the regeneration process takes part. Your body regenerates, your brain gets rid of toxins and waste, your nervous system reorganizes, and you get prepared for the new day. And so if we live 100 years, we sleep about 33 years. And so this part is really the first step to regeneration. It's just to rest and to sleep. Of course, many businesses have understood that, and many startups have understood that. They call it the sleep tech. The sleep tech represents multi-billions of dollars, because we really need to rest. We really need to, whenever we work twice or we accelerate something, we need to rest twice and to decelerate. Is how the day works. During the day you accelerate, and during the night you rest. We say that during the day we take care of our body, and during the night the body takes care of us. Same for the planet, because we work on the same system. If we just leave the ocean to rest, after 14 years, 13 years, the fish comes back, the ecosystem start to work again and to stabilize, but just letting it rest. So in fact, when we let somebody rest, we accelerate its regeneration. So rest doesn't mean that we don't do something. It means that we prepare for something new. And that's Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, said, we now need to restore 30% of the wild places on the planet to re-give to the earth its capacity to regenerate all the systems. And this is part of the rewilding tendency that we also have ourselves, when we go swimming in cold water, or we we do all sorts of things to reconnect to our wild world, but also our wild spirits, because that's the way we can go forward and we can regenerate ourselves. A good example of that and the efficiency of resting is Chernobyl. Chernobyl, nuclear catastrophe. Men put it as an exclusion zone for 30 years. And in 30 years, because men did not interact with this place, even though it was very, very contaminated, it became the third largest natural reserve in Europe. So it really means that we are part of the system, but we don't command. And I think this is probably the big lessons that we are taking now is we are connected, we are part of life, but we are just a small part of life. Within us, there is also a sanctuary that we can connect every day, and I'm talking about meditation. The meditation practice helps you to get rid of stress and anxiety, reducing your migraines. It says also that it increases your immunity, it promotes your sleep. That's why more and more people are doing meditation, and it's a booming word. Also, same as qigong, for example. These practices which are based on very, very slow movements. But these slow movements, this calm, the inner peace helps you to regenerate. So we come from a time where we thought that we had to accelerate, but in fact we have to accelerate the regeneration. So resting more to get back to our full power, physical power and mental power. In nature, everything takes time, but everything gets completed. And we have the feeling now that everybody is doing lots of stuff and it's accelerating, but nothing gets done actually in the way that that promotes our health, spiritual health, mental health, and physical health. So I believe that we are going toward civilization which will be more efficient, but which will also take more its time to do great stuff and at a great level using its natural intelligence. Then when we come back, so we sleep, we rest, but usually what we do is like we take a big breath, we take fresh air in and we blow out. We release the stress and the old stories. We breathe in and we breathe out the old world. Breathing is a way to reconnect to life. It's actually the first thing we do when we were born. We take a big breath because that's the energy behind all life. This is the primordial, one of the primordial elements. You can stay 3 weeks without eating and 3 days maybe without drinking, but you cannot stay more than 3 minutes without breathing. So breathing is really step 3 maybe, or even step 1 of regeneration and using your natural intelligence. You can do a very nice exercise every day. You can do some cardiac coherency to recharge your energy, and to balance the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems in your body. So, if you're interested, just have a look at cardiac coherency. Basically, you breathe for 5 minutes, 3 times a day, and 6 breaths every minute. And that with the breath, you can access your inner systems and reload your batteries. In Chinese medicine, we say that the breath helps you to reload your kidneys, which are the batteries of the immune system and the functioning of your vital energy. So by breathing slowly and breathing deeply, we recharge our system and we get ready for the next. Breath is very interesting because breath shows us that everything is connected. If you breathe now, you're taking oxygen and you are releasing CO2. This CO2 takes 4 days to go around the planet. And the plant do exactly the contrary. They take CO2 and they release oxygen. So it means that the air, the CO2 that you are releasing now is going to be responsible for the birth maybe of a flower at the other side of the planet. And so natural intelligence tells us that everything is connected. Whatever thing you do now is connected to what other people are doing. We might come from differences, but we are on the same boat. So we clearly see now that to do that, to create a new civilization, we all have to be together with the same objective and the same, I would say, the same dream about what we can achieve. This is important because everything is connected. Everything works in symbiosis. For example, the first cell grew up and developed because it could create a symbiosis with its environment. And then the first cell developed into a bigger organism that would survive only if it was capable of organizing a symbiosis with its environment. And then we created, we appeared, and then we created communities. These communities could only survive if they were able to be symbiotic with their environment and between themselves. And then we created cities and countries, and now we are globalized. And so we can only succeed in this globalization form, as we are creating a globalized structure, if we live in symbiosis with our home, which is, of course, the planet. And so we use our natural intelligence. What we do next is usually we drink some water. You know, maybe you had some in the Hangover movie. You had a lot of drinks, alcoholic drinks or whatever, and then so just to clean up your body and to help the regeneration process to start, you just drink clean water. This water, of course, is the primordial element of life. And this is what defines today the blue health. What we call the blue health is really the reconnection and understanding of what water, of course, the oceans, but also the water we drink, how water can have a huge impact on our health, mental health, and physical health. Here again, with the water, we see that we have exactly the same natural intelligence than the planet, because we have the same water content than the planet. So it's really a sign that we are designed exactly the same way and we function the same way. So we have to function the same way to stay together. Then when you go back home, so you sleep and then you take water, what you do is you go outside and you take some sun and you lie on the sun, and that regenerates you, because you feel the power of the sun rays, but also the sun is at the origin of many mechanism, health mechanism. One that you know, of course, is the production of your vitamin D, and the vitamin D supports your stronger body, bones, immune systems, and a lot of different processes. Taking the sun is really important, and this is about a new way to build our houses, new way to build our architecture, new lifestyle of going out much more than what we do, doing sport, gardening, walking, whatever. But going out is very, very important for our health. If you take the sun, the rays of the sun in the morning when you wake up, in your eyes, it already start to program a good sleep for the following night. So we function with the seasons, with the intensity of light. The darkness also is very important. So we have the light, the sun. The darkness is very important, because when you sleep, when you sleep and it's dark, you start to, of course, produce melatonin and all different hormone and molecules of regulation to reach a deep sleep, to have a deep regeneration. So light is important, and darkness is also important. So I don't want to put it too much on the yin and yang or something like that. But yes, both of them are important, and both of them help us to regenerate. Then when you take the sun, what you do is usually you walk in the forest, or you go back to nature, or you just spend some times back in the nature. And the reason why is that instinctively we know that because we grew up in nature, we are totally aligned with nature, with the sound, with the smells, with what we see, the colors, the shapes, and everything. Because we grew up in the forest for millions of years. So by going back to the nature, to the forest, we have incredible impact on our health, physical and mental health. By just staying 3 days in the Vallée Éternelle, the project we'll be talking about, which is a natural place, but I would say in any forest on the planet, if you stay more than 3 days in this forest, we can track your cortisol level, the stress hormone, and it decreases by 15% compared to the levels you have in the cities. If we look at the NK lymphocytes, which have the function to eliminate the cells which are not functioning well, like tumor cells or cells which have been attacked by viruses, especially important in the pandemic we are living. We increase the level of the NK lymphocytes by 53% by just staying 3 days in the forest. Our memory, our concentration, our speed of learning and capacity of our brain are reaching again their peak. So the transformation you get by just being in contact with nature and in the forest is so important, is completely mind-blowing. And that's just confirmed that it's our natural home. And the further we live away from this natural kingdom, the more we weaken ourselves, and the more we destroy nature, the more we destroy ourselves. You can feel it when you go back to the office. You know, it's like you go back from holiday, you had a good relax on the sun, the beach, on the sea with natural surroundings, and then you just go back to the office, and in three days, stress comes back. It doesn't last a long time, or well, 3 days, maybe 3 minutes, 3 hours or 3 minutes, because the office, as we have built them so far, and even our houses, do not take into consideration the natural intelligence, and that's a huge opportunity we have now to do. That's why, you know, you have plant influencers now, followed by millions of followers, because they are placing back plants and flowers inside their flat. They are growing food inside their flat, outside, gardening. When you look at the Apple headquarters, you know how it has been designed. It's amazing to see that they have surrounded, they have used the land not to build an office, but mainly to build a natural place and to put a very light office on it. And then you just look at the High Line in New York, or the vertical garden building in Milan. These are expression of reconnection to nature and the natural principle, natural intelligence. If you listen to natural sounds, like a small stream, you know, lives in the wind, I guess some of you, when you work or you're at home, you are putting some natural sounds in, because by just listening to these sounds, your stress level drops immensely. Of course, it's better to listen to them in a natural forest, but the impact also of artificial sounds is just incredible. What you have also, and few people know it, is that in the forest, you have extremely rich microbiomes. You know the importance of microbiome for your natural defenses, your immune system, and your overall health. As we have lost a lot of our diversity in microbiome, we can regain our microbiome diversity by going back to places where this microbiome still exists. So in a sense, if we move from 8 billion consumers to 8 billion gardeners in 7 years, I'm very sure that the world will be much better, and then we have regenerated everything. 30 years ago, maybe everybody wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor. 20 years ago, maybe a CEO. Maybe 10 years ago, everybody wanted to be a startup or a founder. I guess that now the real leader, people who are inspiring us, are really people who are reconnecting us with the natural world, and like modern gardeners. And they also help us to reconnect to real food, because food is obviously something extremely important for our health. And going back to wild food also is a very big trend. We know that the wild food has much more nutrients, much more phytonutrients than cultivated foods. If you take a wild apple, for example, a wild apple has 10,000% more phytonutrient than cultivated apple. And if you take a dandelion, for example, it contains 700% more phytonutrients than a spinach. This is why we see top chefs, people foraging, going back to the forest, creating fantastic recipes with wild food, not only because it's beautiful and the act of reconnecting with the wilderness and understanding the wilderness is fantastic, but also it tastes so great because we see with our taste that it does good to us. And of course, if we conserve the environment, it's free. This is why I think that conservation of natural places and regeneration of the wilderness of natural places is the new innovation. And that's where the biggest innovation and biggest acceleration lays. So now I'm going to talk to you about a project that I've created called La Vallée Éternelle. It's just to put that in action. It's just to share that with a maximum of people so that everybody can access to what this natural intelligence has in it, and pragmatically to transform this new intelligence in a new project, in a new civilization. So this place is in the southwest of France, La Vallée Éternelle. It's a very cult place, very symbolic place. It's a UNESCO World Humankind Heritage, because that's the city, the little village where archaeologists found the first Cro-Magnon man. So that's the ancestor, the modern European man in Europe. And so this is probably the place where we made one of our first fire, where we created, where we dreamt about a new civilization. And we thought it would be a good idea to go back to this place as we go back to our home, to help to redesign a better world, at least a world where we can live happy and healthy on a healthy planet. So yeah, this is an amazing place. It's like, we talk about innovation in California and that the innovation started from a garage maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago. This is 50,000 years ago. So it's really very symbolic of our capacity of imaginations, so our capacity to reinvent ourselves, and that we can do every second, we can do every day. So what we do is we are gathering people, scientists, entrepreneurs, founders, gardeners, whatever, around a fire under a beautiful rock shelter, which is the largest rock shelter in Europe, to design together with the natural intelligence, the new project, the new startups, how to get more natural intelligence into corporations and whatever project of people that come there. So the idea is very simple, and the reason why it's simple is that we wanted everybody to like it. And throughout the history, everybody has always gathered around a campfire and tell good stories. And because we are sapiens and we like stories, we thought that would be amazing to go back to this place that everybody can call home, and physically and spiritually reinvent a new civilization. So it's kind of deep accelerator for healthy people on a healthy planet that you can join, of course, on LinkedIn, Instagram. You can participate. Our objective is not only to gather in this very beautiful natural place, but it's to multiply the Vallée Éternelle throughout the world, so we can regenerate 30% on the white places on the planet. So we have a foundation, we receive donations, and we give back the donation to people that want to protect land or pieces of the oceans, to serve as a base for global prosperity. So not only, of course, conserving nature as it is, but conserving nature to become more healthy and to have to reach global prosperity. So biosphere, human, and the economy that goes with it. So I'm done now with what I wanted to share. Yeah, just don't forget to smile, because we need a lot of smiles in the period we are going through. And you smile not because you're happy, because you're strong. So let's smile, yeah, because we are strong and we can really do it.
Thank you so much, Fabrice, for sharing your experience. Please. So, I think we all need something like Vallee Éternelle in our lives, especially in such an intense period. I had several questions. I see that there are a lot of questions from the audience, but I wanted to ask you first, because the first question that came to mind, you as CEO of Haagen Dazs and then managing the innovation lab at L'Oréal, I feel like at that point, you probably didn't have much time to regenerate in nature. So when did this passion to regenerate in nature start?
Yeah, I guess most of you will have are experiencing the same. You know, it's just like when you work. If you work and you know the rules of healthy lifestyle, then you see that it's not compatible. And so the next question is, yeah, but how can I make the two? You know, how can I work? And the more I work, the more I'm healthy physically and mentally. And this is the opportunity we have to reinvent what works means and how we work. So it's just coming from the experience, from daily experience. And yes, you're right. If you are a CEO, or if you don't need to be a CEO to do mistakes in your healthy lifestyle. Everybody's doing healthy lifestyle, because we have designed work in a way which is not compatible with the health, with our health and the health of the planet.
Thank you for sharing that. I also had a more personal question. So as you know, the goal of the Health Week is to motivate every one of you to make one more healthy decision a day. So I wanted to ask you, what will be your one more healthy decision?
Every day, I mean, we have, I guess most of us have rituals now, and lemon juice or whatever. But yeah, what I would just say is that when you wake up, you just take a second to realize that you are enough, you have enough, and you do enough. So you don't need to do much more. But also that you have enough. You know, this concept of natural intelligence is really, some people think that the solution is outside. So they think in terms of artificial artificial intelligence, modification, whatever. And some other people know that they have the answer deep inside, and you can count on yourself. So I think it's this session now that we see is a transition between people that believed that the grass was greener on the other side, and people that say, no, we have everything to be happy, let's do it. So you have to trust yourself and trust your natural capacity. Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the questions from the audience, because we're having several questions. The first one from Alexis. He says, in summary, what can we do in our daily lives to regenerate? You mentioned breathing exercises, water, resting, sleeping. Are there any actions that we can do daily or weekly?
Yes, I mean, if you do that already, you will feel much better. so these are the principle. The thing you can do is really to design your own day. I mean, to be the entrepreneur of your life. And depending on your age, depending on what you do, depending on where you live and everything, you just design your own system so that every day you progress onto the health curve. I mean, you getting better and better. Of course, food is totally essential. What you can also do, because it's what I shared with you are personal lifestyle changes or personal tricks to to be more healthy, but what you can do is start to buy stuff that make other healthy and make the planet healthy. So you use your money, you use your finance to invest in people that work towards a healthier planet and healthier humanity. So
not only taking actions that help us personally regenerate, but also help others.
Yeah, I think we are the center of the system. I mean, there is this debate that corporations or enterprises are the one that can change the world. I don't believe this is true. I believe that we are at the center of the power, and the companies will just take the opportunity of our behavior and what we do to create new product and to go into that direction.
We have another question from Alessandro. How do you keep the right balance between your personal and professional life during the most stressful periods?
Yeah, you have to force the system. You have to, you know. So when, for example, somebody is asking you for a 3 hours meeting and in 10 minutes it can be solved, you just give 10 minutes and you do yoga or qigong, whatever, or gardening for the next time. You really don't want to get trapped into a system which has not been designed for you. I know it's tough, but you don't have the choice. You have to, and that's why ritual help you. You say, okay, I'm not going to start a meeting before maybe 9. I don't know where you start, because 30 minutes before I will do some exercises. I will eat whatever. I will stop working at 5, 6, 7, whatever. But you have to have discipline. Otherwise, in 1 second, you get stuck. You get swallowed into a system which has not been designed for you. You have to be the entrepreneur of your life and create a system you want. So sometimes it's difficult because, of course, we live in a world where a lot of systems have not been designed for that, but still you have to do it. Yeah. And practice every day. Practice every day, because maybe one day you won't be able to do it because you will be full of work and you will lose your balance. But it's discipline. So do it every day.
You're talking about being full of work, and actually the next question is about that. Shanglong says, I suppose that the benefit of going to nature is quite clear to all of us, but the main problem is how and why to find a gap at work to do so.
Sorry, how and why?
To find a gap during your work to do so.
Yes, it's the same. It's a very similar question, is that we are so stuck into models which are not compatible with what we said, that we need now to create and to use our leadership to create offices or this work from home is a good example, because work from home means a totally different design. You have to take back the design in your hand. You have to manage your day because it's your place, your home. If you work in an office, it's clear that any offices should be designed now like a garden, like a place of regeneration, because you can't say, I'm going to work hard and then regenerate. Every day you should regenerate. You should be in an environment that regenerates yourself. So it's the responsibility of the owner of the company or the leaders to work with architects and food experts and health experts to incorporate everything we know in the design of our new offices or cities or whatever. Today when you design a city, most of the city would just plant trees. But it is not what natural intelligence is telling us. It's much deeper than that. We need not even Central Park. We need really parks and forests, wild forest in the cities now. Yeah.
You're mentioning that trees are not enough, and Laura is asking a question about if there are similar studies or views on the human connection with animals and the impact on reducing stress levels.
Yes, there are many research done in hospitals. We know that the contact with animals. We are social species anyway, and the contact with other species is really very important, not only with humans. There are a lot of research on regeneration when you get sick, if you are in a wild place or with animals, then it helps you to recover much faster. The animals are also increasing the biodiversity and micro biodiversity around you. So there are many studies that children who grow up with animals have a better cardiovascular resilience, and they are less affected by chronic diseases and allergies, because they train from their childhood to live with a diversity of bacteria and fungi and stuff like that. So their training is higher. They're more powerful. Yeah. So yeah, if you have kids, just let them play with the soil. Let them even eat the soil and wild food, because then they will train their immune system, and they will increase their resistance and compatibility. If you just sterilize your environment, then you weaken people. We are symbiotic, so we have to have a good relationship with the environment. And the pandemic we have today is clearly a symptom of the fact that now the planet is not balanced, and it has lost its shield that protected us, and the natural shield that can help us to fight against viruses.
We have another question from Laura. She says, this is all wonderful, but she's challenging in the economic side. Is there a compatibility between economic growth and natural regeneration between all of us?
So there must be, because one doesn't work without the other. So first you need a healthy planet, and then you can do business. You can see that everywhere. People that are working in companies in polluted cities, or where the nature has been destroyed, their system is collapsing, totally collapsing. All the civilizations that have disconnected with the natural intelligence have disappeared, have failed. And we do the same. If we cut off from nature, we die younger. So the answer is that there are trillions of dollars of opportunity to do in the development of regenerative economy. And our game or challenge, if you want, is to not only to be good at making profit, but to be good at everything. That's our challenge now. And I think if you do a business school, is not to know how to make more profits. It's really that doing business is noble. It's a noble activity. It starts from your values, from your ethics, and frankly, doing a business school to learn how to optimize the profit is ridiculous. It's probably the poorest form of business. Now, business must be and easily can be a force of good. We know we've lost a lot, so we have to regenerate, and that's the major opportunity we have for the next 100 years.
Yeah, I think as you were saying, there is a need to build a bridge between sustainability and well-being, because they are truly interconnected and interdependent. So if you think about it, as you were explaining, we will never be truly healthy until we are at one and at peace with the natural environment. But people will never truly care about the natural environment until they are healthy themselves. So my question is, as in your investor seat, are you seeing a movement towards companies or startups that are trying to build this bridge between sustainability and well-being?
Yes, you're right. We don't understand something until it doesn't impact us directly. So I'm taking an example of the honeybees, for example. The honeybee, if you ask people or companies to protect the honeybees, they won't do it. But if you say that honeybees produce honey, which is a major food for your longevity and health, then everybody wants to protect the bees because they want to protect their health. So you're right that the human species is very egocentric usually, and tends to understand things only if it's related to their species, our own species. And so for everything we do, we have to try to connect the environment with a positive benefit for us personally, privately, and then people move because they understand the relationship. If you say, yeah, save the planet or global warming, you know, we've seen in COP26 and the result, even with very, very strong, massive data and evidences that it's in innovation. You always have to create a better story if you want people to join. So we have to create a better story, and it's difficult because the story we had so far was so poor that we have accepted to use business as a force of making profit, which is really the reason why we are in such a bad situation today.
Thank you. Magdalena from Zoom asks us, I have always felt the power of water and nature and work in wastewater treatment. How to make better use of this nature regeneration concept in the Middle East. Thank you for this beautiful message. But my question is, how? Do you have any ideas?
Do you mean the use of water? Or?
The use of this nature regeneration concept in the Middle East when it comes to wastewater treatment.
Yeah, I mean, one obvious answer is the role of forests in the filtration, natural filtration of water, and also whenever you bring back a forest in a place where it has disappeared, it attracts the clouds and it attracts the humidity and reboots the natural water system. So by recreating forests, you not only clean up the water naturally and recycle, regenerate the water naturally, but also you attract more water that, in the second step, increases even more the life regeneration around you. Now, in terms of technology, it's deep. But there are many water treatment technologies that do not need any filter or that use only natural processes. We won't have time to go deep into that, but I would be, of course, happy to answer more deeply about the technologies, natural technologies that exist. Yes.
Thank you. Well, that concludes our talk, Fabrice. I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart to participate in the Health Week and believing in this initiative from the start. It has been a true pleasure to have you here with us today and to get to know you better before the actual conference. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. It is definitely something different and really inspiring, something different to what we commonly see at a business school. So, but very much needed. So thank you. Please give a warm round of applause to.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Great job. Fantastic.
So before we close the session, I just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of Vallée Éternelle. Vallée Éternelle is Fabrice's project, as he said. And if you want to find out more, you can go to valleeternelle.org. It is a truly interesting project, and as you know, it has been approved, more than approved, by the CEO of Patagonia. We also wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, Pigpunk. If you can, yeah. So as you know, Pigpunk is a sponsor for the Health Week as well. Their motto is no bullshit inside. We will be distributing the last vegan bars that we have from them. And if you like their products, you can get them from 40% off using this code and this QR code. So if you want to take a picture for later use, please feel free. So that concludes all the conferences from the Health Week. Thank you very much for your support, not only those in person, but also those on Zoom. We have one last event. As you know, today we had massages throughout the whole day. I know some of you have been able to attend these massages. I hope you really enjoyed it and would like to get some feedback from you on how to maybe improve for the next time. But I just wanted to market our last event, a mindfulness session called Mindfulness at Work. It will be with Joas Sedbon, and I think it's a good continuation of the talk we had with Fabrice today. So yeah, that concludes our conferences. Thank you very much to everyone.